So good day, everyone, and welcome to Women in Data Science Trinidad and Tobago's Spotlight feature for April. I am Dr. Leticia Addison, the WiDS-TT, as we call it for short, ambassador. I am very happy to be able to present to you today two phenomenal speakers who are going to talk about EmpleaTT, a voice-powered career tool for all. Our speakers today are Ms. Jade Lalla and Mr. Shiva Ramlal, whom I'll introduce in a second. But first, let's jump into what WiDS-TT is all about. So, Women in Data Science Trinidad and Tobago hosts independent events, which is aligned with the Global WiDS Data Challenge. And we also host other workshops, webinars, spotlight talks, fireside chats, and forums, which are meant to build data literacy at every level, while inspiring and empowering girls and women in the field. But our events are also open to all data science enthusiasts who are ready to explore the power of data. So if you want to find out more about what WiDS-TT does, feel free to check out widstt.com. In honor of International Girls in ICT Day 2025, which is hosted on the 24th of April, we want to look today at a tech tool that is really used for communities' benefit. And of course, this year's theme for Girls in ICT Day is Girls in ICT for Inclusive Digital Transformation. So meet our speakers. They will introduce themselves shortly, but I'll first give you a very brief introduction before they get into some of the work that they have been doing, which has been really amazing work. We have Ms. Jade Lalla. She is the project lead for EmpleaTT. She's a BSc candidate in electrical and computer engineering at the UWI St. Augustine Campus. We also have Mr. Shiva Ramlal, who is the software developer for EmpleaTT, and he is also a BSc candidate in electrical and computer engineering at the UWI St. Augustine Campus. So at this point, before we jump in to ask our speakers what their experiences were like in terms of the tool, I'm sure you want to actually hear what the tool is about and how this came to be. So I'm going to pass over to our amazing speakers, and they're going to give you a short overview. So let's jump right in.
So good day, everyone, and thank you for coming to our Spotlight Talk. I would like to extend thank yous to Dr. Addison, as well as the Women in Data Science Trinidad and Tobago team. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to showcase EmpleaTT. And without further ado, we are excited to share with everyone today our voice-powered bilingual resume generator. So we'll be touching on a few aspects today. We want to share with you all how this project came about, a bit more about the project, the team behind the project, as well as some technical components. So to begin, this project came about in our ECNG 2005 Community Service Learning component of that course. So as part of this course, we were tasked with two things. We had to first find a problem that a local community faces, and then apply our engineering knowledge to propose and develop a solution to their problem. The problem that we decided to touch on was the language barrier faced by Spanish-speaking individuals in Trinidad and Tobago. And the solution we came up to solve this problem was to create an accessible and free online resume generation tool to assist the Spanish-speaking individuals in overcoming that language barrier in the job application process. And to bring this website to life, we partnered with two NGOs, La Casita Hispanic Cultural Center and Women-Owned Media and Education Network. And here's a bit more about our project. So this is the homepage, and on our website, you can create a resume, cover letter, and there's also a language translation feature. This is what the resume builder aspect looks like. So there are a number of different fields you can fill in with your resume content in either Spanish or English, and you can manually input your content, or you can use your voice and input your resume content. This is the cover letter generator. And now I would like to share a bit more about our team behind EmpleaTT. These pictures were taken from our first site visit at La Casita Hispanic Cultural Center. And in the first image on our left, two of our team members are guiding the director of La Casita, Mrs. Andrina Brown, through EmpleaTT. In the second photo, standing next to me in the middle, is our project supervisor, as well as the director of Women, Miss Lucia Cabrera Jones. And in the first picture, that is our full team behind the project. And in the second picture, I am leading a presentation at La Casita with Spanish-speaking individuals. And after this presentation was held, we were fortunate enough to host a workshop at La Casita where we were able to gather valuable feedback to better improve EmpleaTT.
Hi everyone, I'm Shiva Ramlal, and I would like to do the technical background for the project EmpleaTT. First up is the technical stack. The front-end frameworks for the project was React 18 and Vite. They were used for fast development and hot module replacement since we had a constrained amount of time to develop the project within. TypeScript was used as the language to ensure safety throughout the components and the services. And Tailwind CSS was used for utility-first styling. The Gemini API was used for the generation of bullet points and summary suggestions and correction of text through speech-to-text. It was controlled on prompt-based post calls and streaming responses. Google Cloud Translate was utilized in translation from English to Spanish, and it also included asynchronous translation with support for auto-detecting the source language. The database, which was Supabase, handles all authentication and real-time session updates and storing user data. The Supabase logs sessions and calls all retries. So the analytics for the page would update at a heartbeat of every 30 seconds. Next is the security design. The environmental isolation was done using Supabase keys and endpoints, which are stored in a .env file and injected via the Vite meta import. So it only exposes environment variables that start with Vite to the client side for security reasons. The role-based access control enforced via Supabase row-level security policies, which is database-ended. The session handling is done by using a session ID, which is stored in the session storage for security on the tab close. So when a tab is closed, the session ID is removed, and the sessions are kept alive with periodic heartbeat updates. The retry logic is done by the core analytics functions, which use retry operations with an exponential backoff and jitter, which adds randomness to the retry delay to prevent synchronization problems. The no persisted authentication sessions. This means that the page is not saving the user login sessions to local storage or cookies. So the user's authentication state is not preserved after the browser tab is closed or refreshed. Next is the system flow. User input is gathered from React-based forms, like in the resume generator fields. It's validated with Zod, which is a TypeScript native schema used as a validator, and custom hooks, which are functions written using React's hooks like useState and useEffect to encapsulate reusable behaviors. Gemini was triggered when user opts to generate text improvements and implemented via a service layer wrapping Google's generative models. Cloud translation runs in real time when a user clicks translate. it's bridged through Google Cloud's Translate and returns a response. The resume builder core converts structured data plus the Gemini output into a final resume layout. The Supabase integration records in SQL tables the session IDs generated by the unique user ID and is persisted with timestamps and user metadata. So I will now do a website walkthrough for the functions and the general layout of EmpleaTT website. So at the home page, the user is greeted with some information on the site, a preview of a completed resume, and all the available teams, which are in a carousel. The option to sign in allows the user to save resumes that are in the process of being built so that it can be completed at any later time. The resume builder is the core of the site, which allows users to be walked through a process that will help them build a resume from scratch. The cover letter page allows users to generate a cover letter based on their experience, education, and basic information. The translate page is a comprehensive translator between Spanish and English, which also has speech-to-text capabilities. Our missions page contains additional information with respect to the team, project purpose, and the beneficiaries of the project. Lastly, the analytics page shows common trends and the number of uses that select features of the page receive.
So thank you, Jade and Shiva, for walking us through the aspects of the tool, from looking at the community side to also looking at the technical aspects, and of course, that really engaging demo. So it's really, really nice to see what you have built here. And I think probably our viewers want to know a little bit more about the both of you. So let's just jump right into some questions in terms of your backgrounds. So I'll give each of you this question, but let us first start with Jade, and then Shiva, you can always give us your input. So can you tell us a bit about your journey in terms of what brought you into the world of tech? And I see you all also used some generative AI components, and then you have community aspects and of course software design and building, and what led to this project. So Jade, could you start off and let us know?
Sure. So my journey into tech or engineering began simply with a deep curiosity for how systems work and how things get done, and a desire to solve real-world problems. With respect to this project, the team who initially developed the project came to me with the idea, and they asked me to join their team. And when I looked into it, I thought it was really interesting, as when I was in Form 6 and creating my first resume, it was a very intimidating thing because I was like, what do I put? How do I write this? What template do I use? So I thought this resume generation tool that they came up with was an excellent idea, and it can impact a number of communities locally. And that's what led me into this project. And I am really proud of what we were able to develop at the end.
Yeah, that is very, very nice. And Shiva, what about you? Based on Jade's experience, how did you fare in this project?
Well, my journey into tech started with a natural curiosity about how things work. From a young age, I was always interested in electronics and computers. My parents built a lot of computer systems when I was small, and I always enjoyed being around. I love solving problems and experimenting with things. So naturally, I loved math, and I thought math was, coding was like an extension to math. So that passion eventually led me to pursue the electrical and computer engineering degree. And well, as I progressed in the degree, I started exploring how technology could do more than just automate things for my needs, but it could actually bridge gaps in access, opportunity, and communications, like with our EmpleaTT website, which could help a lot more people than just myself, which was my initial goal in learning to code, making things that I do easier for me. And well, that's what drew me to EmpleaTT when our group started talking about language barriers and job accessibility in Trinidad. I realized it was a perfect opportunity to, well, apply what I know to help in, well, fulfilling the work on the website.
Excellent. So I can see from both of you, you really have a real drive and a passion for this type of work. So let's get into the next question. Let's think about leadership and inclusion. So I'll first start with Jade on this question. As the female lead, and I think you were the only female lead, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the only female on the team, right? What was it like leading the males, the all-male team in a tech-based community project, and how did that experience start to shape your current leadership style now as you go into the working world eventually?
Well, it was interesting as initially I did not want to be the group leader, but the guys themselves were the ones who pushed me into that position. Initially, it was challenging to manage a team of 10 boys as everyone has different personality types and different work ethics. And it was also difficult to establish my footing in the team as a leader and a female leader and the only female in the group. But after some time, this experience became a lot more easier and it shaped me to become an empathetic, decisive, and confident leader. And at the end of the day, even though it was an all-male team, we are all human. I did not view myself as different to any of them. And being in an all-male team is not something that intimidates me. Everyone was able to collaborate really well with each other, and I think we had a great synergy and dynamic as a team.
Oh, that's excellent. And I didn't even know you didn't really want to be the
Yeah.
lead, and you did it so well. So that is extremely inspiring, I think, for a lot of females and young girls, because I mean, sometimes it feels intimidating
Yeah.
to be in a group of all boys. And I think that, and Shiva, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think you all really supported Jade and her abilities as well, right? So
Yeah.
she was able to do quite well in leading the team. So that's really, really a wonderful attribute to have there in terms of your leadership, and to be able to have the support is very crucial. So let's go to our next question. And this one is for Shiva. So our next question for Shiva is based on looking at the technical challenges and the wins for a project like this. And Shiva, from your perspective, as we would say you are the leading software developer at this point in this project, what could you say would be the most, either the most rewarding or the most challenging, or you could say both if there were both, part of building the voice-powered bilingual feature aspect of this particular platform?
Well, from a developer's perspective, one of the most complex parts was getting the actual voice recognition and the bilingual features to work smoothly across all different devices and network conditions. We had to balance accuracy and speed and accessibility, especially since some users might not have the best internet or the latest phones. So integrating speech to text in both English and Spanish was challenging on its own. We had to explore different APIs, tune different models, and even handle things like accents and background noise. But at the same time, that's what made it rewarding. So seeing someone speak naturally into their phone and get a clean professional resume in their language, yeah, it felt like magic. So that was the moment that made all the debugging and the testing and coding with it.
I must commend you on that, because it sounds like, I mean, just hearing you say that, looking at the challenges, and I think that's one of the most rewarding parts of seeing a project like this and seeing the both of you think about the vulnerable communities and the challenges they face with, having, access to digital tools, and then making it easier for them, and especially for persons who are Spanish speaking in a country like ours, where some of them don't know much English. I think that really, really speaks volumes about how your hard work paid off in terms of making a really, really interesting, and I think a bridging the gap between, data literacy, digital literacy, language multilingual issues, especially in terms of, bilingual issues, it's really nice to pull all of these things together in a tool. So I must commend you all on that work, and thanks for that perspective, Shiva. So let's go to our next question, and this question is for Jade. Okay, so Jade, in terms of advice for others, because I think right now in the conversation, we've heard a lot about your backgrounds, about your technical abilities in terms of what the software could bring to the table, and also the community aspect, because we really want the communities to understand how to use these digital tools and how it can work for them. So Jade, what advice would you give to young women or underrepresented voices who really want to lead meaningful tech projects within their own communities?
I would say to take charge and start the project, because no one's negative opinions about you or the project matters at the end of the day, because the world goes on. I think once you have the confidence it takes to not let others' opinions affect you, and to remain strong in the face of any sort of adversity, whether that be public opinion or project challenges, you will make it far. I think that determination and confidence are two key attributes one must possess for any endeavor to be successful. And if there's a will, there's a way.
I love that. I love the take charge attitude, because I think a lot of the times, as females, we feel a little more intimidated, and, in a more male-dominated environment, we're not exactly sure, how we can actually progress. So it's really nice to be able to understand, we can take the initiative, you have the support, you have the talent, and it's really just to build your own self-esteem and motivation. And of course, groups like WiDS and, a lot of other community groups can help, to really facilitate that sort of motivation and support. So nice to hear that, Jade. So that's really, really important. So our final question now goes to Shiva. Right, so our final question to Shiva here is, in terms of final reflections, now that we've all spoken about all the aspects of the project, the community, and really thinking about moving forward in terms of where do you go from here? Shiva, is there anything else that you would like to share from, in terms of the project, whether about EmpleaTT's future, or even in terms of what the experience means for you going forward?
Yeah, definitely. Working on EmpleaTT showed me how powerful tech could be when it's built with empathy and purpose. It wasn't just about writing code, it was about creating something that could genuinely change lives and will be useful to people. So looking ahead, I'd love to see EmpleaTT grow into a full ecosystem that supports users of all languages, interview prep, upskilling tools. The project really inspired me to keep building tech that's human-centered and community-driven.
Oh, that's excellent. And I love the fact that you ended off with saying something that's really, community driven and really user centered, because we really want to reach the community. And I think both you and Jade and your whole team have done quite a wonderful job of putting this together. I'm really, really proud of you all. And to see the work you have done. We will feature your project on the WiDSTT.com website. So we will put those links in the description box. And for anybody who wants to reach out, where can we reach you all, Jade and Shiva, if they want to find out any more information on the project?
If anyone would like to find out any more information, you can go to our website, and our project supervisor's contact information is there. So you can contact her at first, and any feedback, comments, concerns, she will then relay to us.
And we'll provide all of that information for you as well. So that is it for our Spotlight Talk today. We would really like to thank Jade and Shiva for being here and sharing their insights on the tool, not only the technical aspects, but how it's going to help the community. And we hope that moving forward, you all have a very fruitful, time with this tool, and maybe building other tools for the community. And I'll look out for you all in the tech space as we progress. So thanks again. And we will see you all next time for another edition of our WiDSTT Spotlight Talks. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.